This series of videos is going to focus on the SaaStart Auth0 Next.js SaaS Starter Kit application we have here. Quite a mouthful. We're going to walk through in this first video just getting things set up with Vercel and getting it up and running. And then in the subsequent videos, we'll go through some customization on it and kind of how the application itself works. These videos are going to assume that you're already familiar with the organizations feature within Auth0. So if you are not familiar with that, it's probably worth checking out one of the Auth0 developer videos they have walking through the functionality. We're going to be using Vercel to host this application. However, as you'll see with the code we have available, this could also be hosted locally or elsewhere. However, Vercel is going to make this super easy for us to have a live application, and it also will highlight the new Auth0 Vercel integration that is available. If we jump back over to our Vercel page here, we can take a look at some of the documentation that's available. Overall, it's going to kind of walk through what we're going to be building out here and the kind of the target use case we're aiming for. Specifically, we're going to be creating a multi-tenancy platform that users can go and sign themselves up for. They can manage their user directory. They can add in additional users, create an SSO connection with their own directory, as well as define security policies for their users when they're logging in. Now, if we didn't want to have to go and deploy our own application, we can actually just click on this View Demo button right here. We can go see this app at a live URL that we can go play with, sign up, and basically see all the functionality for ourselves. If you do want to go play around with this, I'd highly recommend pausing the video and going to the URL. It's much better to get your hands-on experience with it than just walking through it here. For now, let's go through how we're going to actually deploy this ourselves where we can have our own version of it. So in our Vercel documentation, we can see that we have a link to the GitHub repo here, and I'm actually going to use that when I do my deployment. We could just click the deploy button here, but let's just take a look at the repository. So if we scroll down here, we can take a look at similar documentation here. We also obviously could download the code to use locally. However, in this case, like I said, we're just going to use the deploy button built into our documentation here. I find that sometimes this button is a little smoother for me. So when I click this, it's going to take me back to Vercel, and I'm going to be able to start the deployment process. In Vercel, we can use different methods to deploy this. We're going to use GitHub in our example here because we have a GitHub account already set up. We're going to change the name of our repositories because I've set this up a few times now. So we'll call it Demo Starter Walkthrough. And when we do this, we're going to create a private Git repo as well, since we are connected to our GitHub account. This is where we get to use our new Auth0 integration. So we're going to use that newly released tool. It makes it very easy for us to connect to our Auth0 tenant. However, in this example here, we don't actually have a tenant set up yet. So we're going to jump over to our Auth0 environment, and we're actually going to go create a brand new one. Here we're able to create a new tenant on the fly. We can create one. We're going to do it in the Canada region, and we're going to go set that up. I'm just going to speed through this a little bit. Now that we have our tenant enabled, if we jump back over to our Vercel page and we go and add this, we'll use this Auth0 integration and be able to select our tenant that we want to use, which we've just set up here. When we hit accept, we're now going to have the option to make sure that we are linking this to the right project. So let's select the one we just created here. So Demo Starter Walkthrough, not walkthrough. And we will continue on. That's the one we just created. So that looks good. When we hit continue, it's going to warn us that we're going to be changing things in the tenant we just created. So it's ideal here to create a fresh new tenant. We will now agree and hit continue. There's going to be a little bit of a time to wait while things are getting built. We'll speed this up in this video, but it takes about 1:30 for everything to go through. So great, now we have deployed this in Vercel. We can see our little preview here. The app is running, so we know that this worked. And if we go and continue to our dashboard now, we can actually jump right into this live hosted application that we have. So if we click this, we can jump over to the page here. We're not going to run through the functionality in this video. That will be in part 2. Just wanted to have this one be a quick walkthrough of getting things set up in Vercel and getting it deployed. Check out the next video to see the functionality as well as how it interacts with the Auth0 tenant we have set up to achieve the functionality we want in our B2B SaaS application. Thanks for watching.